As for the act of voting itself, I urge voting rights groups in this country to begin to redouble their efforts now to register and educate voters. And in June should be a month of action on Capitol Hill. I hear all the folks on TV saying, why doesn't Biden get this done? Well, because Biden only has a majority of effectively 4 votes in the House and a tie in the Senate, with 2 members of the Senate who vote more with my Republican friends.
Oh, guess who that is?
But we're not giving up. Earlier this year, the House of Representatives passed For the People Act to protect our democracy. The Senate will take it up later this month, and I'm going to fight like heck with every tool at my disposal for its passage. The House is also working on the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which is critical to providing new legal tools to combat the new assault on the right to vote. To signify the importance of our efforts, today I'm asking Vice President Harris to help these efforts and lead them among her many other responsibilities. With her leadership and your support, we're going to overcome again, I promise you, but it's going to take a hell of a lot of work.
It is going to take a lot of work to convince Kristen Sinema to stop being a troll and to start being a senator. And for Joe Manchin to wake up, listen, you sort of kind of understand Joe Manchin in a weird way. I mean, he represents West Virginia, but Kristen Sinema, what part of Arizona does she represent? The crazy part? Because I don't know. What is the deal? Why can't we just say that constitutional guarantees like voting aren't subject to a stinking filibuster? You know, Mark Elias is like, are you kidding me? We're gonna let democracy die because of a rule in the Senate that was made up during Reconstruction and Jim Crow? I mean, really, to stop progress for Africa, we're going to use that rule? It's not a law. It's a stinking rule, the filibuster.
Look, what I've said about the filibuster is this. I don't know the right mechanism. I don't know whether it's getting rid of the filibuster, or it's making an exception to the filibuster, or it's changing the structure of the filibuster. Here's what I know. We cannot have a country in which voting rights is held hostage to a rule of the Senate. I mean, I don't mean like a constitutional provision. I mean literally a rule of the Senate.
Really?
You know, the Senate rules are not a suicide pact for our democracy.
Hello.
And if that's what they have become, then frankly, they need to yield. The good news is that President Biden and Vice President Harris are both former senators, and they know exactly the right levers to push and pull to bring the Democratic caucus to a place that they pass the For the People Act. How they do that with respect to changes of the rules or reforming the rules, I'll leave to them.
So that's Mark Elias, who works. You can read all his lawsuits. I mean, the guy has shown up in every single one of those Trump cases. Democracy Docket is his website. I retweeted that last night because that appearance on Nicole Wallace was really important that he did, trying to explain. Now, here's the really dirty secret, though. The dirty little secret is that even if we got rid of or suspended or set aside the filibuster for the purpose of voting rights, we don't know if the troll, Kristen Sinema, whatever, would vote for it. We know Joe Manchin would. But would Kristen Sinema vote for the people? I don't know. I don't know what her deal is. I have no idea. I have no idea what her capacity for protecting democracy is. I can tell you that she's the filibuster preserves democracy. The filibuster is a good thing.
Well, as folks in Arizona know, I've long been a supporter of the filibuster because it is a tool that protects the democracy of our nation, rather than allowing our country to ricochet wildly every 2 to 4 years back and forth between policies. The idea of the filibuster was created by those who came before us, the United States Senate, to create comity and to encourage senators to find bipartisanship and work together.
No, it was created by senators who didn't want black people to have access to the. I mean, it's like the same story. You know, yesterday we went over the white mob, efforts that permeated this in 1919, 1920. You know, they called it the Red Summer. It was almost always over elections that there was violence in this country. What history is she reading? What is she? I think she's reading the book written by the Tooth Fairy on American history. To bring comedy. No, it was to impede progress of certain Americans who were free people. Oh my God! I'm telling you, we're in a real, and you know, if we do pass the For the People Act in the Senate and it makes it to Joe Biden's desk, of course he'll sign it, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which would simply bring back, and you know, we shouldn't just have pre-clearance for states that have a pattern and practice of racism, which would be a whole lot of those states, right? A whole lot of them. But we should have the same rules in every state. Every state. If you want to change the access to the ballot, if you want to change, you know, the fact that you're going to use drop boxes or you're not going to use drop boxes, or you're going to change the hours of voting, or you're going to change the ID requirements. And not only do you have to show an ID in every state to get registered to vote, but some states you have to show the ID over and over and over and over and over and over. Well, all the states ought to have the same exact rules so that there's no mystery about what you need to vote in this here country, okay?
My job is to try to make clear to everyone what you and I have been talking about, which is that this is an essential piece of legislation. By one way or another, we need to pass it. And that if we don't, there will be, you know, look, we'll keep filing lawsuits. I'll keep doing the best I can, but that is not going to be the solution to what is a concerted effort by the Republican Party to simply make voting harder and to distort and undermine our democracy.
Everybody agrees that that is what the Republicans are doing in hundreds of bills in multiple states, you know, like more than 20 states now. Giving the Republican legislatures the ability to overturn the results of an elections where they're on the ballot? Does that make sense to anybody?
This is an existential threat. This is a threat to our democracy. What the Republicans passed nationwide, but just look at Arizona. Where not only are they suppressing votes, which is something they traditionally do to try to get people they don't want to vote. What they're actually doing is trying to give the authority to Republican officials to overturn elections.
Oh, my God.
In Arizona, they've given the authority to determine who won the election. They've changed it from the Secretary of State to the Attorney General in this legislation. And that expires in January of 23. Because they don't know who's going to win the Attorney General and who's going to win the Secretary of State. This is different.
Yeah.
This is not whether, you know, to cover orthodontry in the ACA.
Orthodontry. I get you, Al. Orthodontics. But everybody is looking at this and saying, oh, my God. Why in the world is Kristen Sinema in Arizona going along with this, saying it's for the preservation of democracy? Does she want this? Is she for this? Because it's really the only conclusion you can come to at this point, is that she wants the ability for elections to be overturned by people who appear on the ballot if they don't like the result. What? I mean, you can't conclude much else about her. Thumbs down for the minimum wage, and she tweets, and she's, oh no, I love the filibuster, and I'm gonna, you know, seriously, dude, set your ego aside. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.